Hey there, everybody. Now, I've been sharing about the visionary state experiences I've been having throughout my life, and up to this point, I've been able to share about those first few years of moving into Florida Keys. And the reason I've been spending a little bit of time on that is I want you to be able to see where this got started and possibly how this got started. And that it's kind of amazing just because in 1982 we should have had no way of knowing who Bill Lieb is, so that's where these are partially prophetic visions, and so it's kind of fun to share this part because it adds confirmation to the reality of visionary state experiences, but at the same time the story gets to be very personal because there's really no other way to share the information. Now I do have a lot of good plans, I believe, and but at this point I'm just really packing up everything, trying to let go of things, give things away, and in a roundabout way I feel like I'm doing the same thing with my stories. I'm kind of sharing these stories, but at the same time I'm also letting go of a lot of the issues that tie in with these. And so today I'd really like to share a little bit more about the timeline and point out where these visionary state experiences pop up in my life. And so we're from Port Huron, Michigan. I was born in 1975, and so people who listen to industrial music know that's a really important year where that got started. And my dad was following electronic music and underground music, so he was quick to catch on. By 1980, he had quite a crew coming over to party over there. And now, one of my earliest memories of ever having a dream, I haven't talked about this one yet, is I had a dream about going into the white light, and I'm not sure why, but I didn't know what that was till I got much older. So it was like going down the classic tunnel into the white space, and so that's a colorful story I'd like to get back to one of these times. And then we moved over to, so we were living at my grandma's when this happened, so I don't know if it had something to do with her house, but yeah, we were living with my mom's grandma, my mom's mom, and so I remember that far back into my life, and the time I got in trouble for getting into my dad's records and stuff like that. And then but then when we moved to the house in Port Huron, that was kind of a fun time in my life as far as I remember, just because it just seemed like all the good music and all the fun, the people were coming over and having fun. There was some drama at times, but I just remember having so much fun I almost forgot about that stuff. But that's when I saw the hang-on. There was like it looked like a living sphere of light in my room, like some kind of a intelligent spirit being. So I did a whole video on that. And then and so I was trying to touch on is that we've had some alcohol-related violence in our family, and I like to think that some of these things would not have happened if we didn't have like, I'm not one of these people that I'm going to go out and tell everybody, you guys stop drinking alcohol. Like, it's alright to have some of that, but you guys get too shit-faced and then you start doing stupid shit. So that's just how that works, and that's why, whatever my, my parents' disagreement was, my mom ended up in the hospital, and I don't really, I didn't witness that. I only kind of heard of it later. So so I had to bring that up because that's where they almost broke up. But that's kind of heavy stuff, and stuff like that can bring on spiritual activity, and so that's why we ended up moving to the Florida Keys, because that's where my grandma went when she retired. And she just thought that was such a beautiful place, and she wanted us all down there, but she also wanted to make sure my dad got her support, and that she could try to give us some structure and give us a more of a normal upbringing, instead of letting us go the way we were going in Michigan. In her eyes, my parents were living like hippies and partying, and if it wasn't for that, she'd have more confidence in them. So she really wanted to kind of keep a close eye on these dumbasses, okay? Anyways, you guys, even though we got down to the Florida Keys, I have to say we also had a lot of fun there because of my grandma's house. We did all our holidays and stuff, and had my cousins, and while my dad was in there partying with his brothers, those guys used to smoke pot and listen to music, and we had the most fun. But at the same time, sometimes my parents got drunk and had some pretty spooky nights. I mean, I've seen my dad like really freak out. You ever see that movie, The Shining? You know, here comes Johnny. So I kind of sometimes wonder if the Florida Keys has had that effect on my dad, because the Florida Keys is actually a very haunted place, and so it's hard to say. I mean, he might already have a natural tendency to get violent, especially if he's drinking. But man, one time he got really drunk and he tore up the house, and that was really scary. And so stuff like that really put fear in me, you know. And a lot of stuff happened. Like I was saying, some of the most terrifying things happened around that time, and that were usually alcohol related. And then I started seeing Billy, so that's where I kind of think maybe stuff like that was putting me into visionary state, being terrified by the antics of my drunken parents. So whatever. Anyways, so that's what I'm trying to point out. Like, this is where this stuff started happening, and it's probably happening because my parents are terrifying me with their drunken antics. So, you know, and I forgive, but I'll certainly remember all this stuff because it's very impactful. And again, this is kind of a common problem all over our nation, probably all over the world, where you know, couples are fighting. People end up having problems if they're using too much alcohol in some cases. And I gotta add that I think at some point my dad realized he should cut back and not allow himself to get drunk like that, you know, because yeah, it's really what's gotten those guys in so much trouble, really, because like marijuana's never gotten any of us in, you know, like, you get in trouble for getting caught with it. That's one thing. Like, I've gotten in trouble for getting caught, but like, we've never had a problem with marijuana in our house. Those have been the best times. And when there's the drinking and partying, then those were some of the worst times. That's when we've got the cops being called and the ambulance coming. And so I think, like, that's what I was trying to get at. It seemed like, you know, Billy was showing me the future and the visions. And then after that, that's when my dad put my mom in the hospital again. And I saw that happen, and it was really terrifying because I honestly thought she didn't make it. So she was only in a coma for a week, but I honestly thought she was going to be dead. And I saw him get dragged off. But what my sister did was, instead of going to my grandma Smith's house, she thought we should run away. So we went and stayed at a couple places, and so that was a really interesting time in our life where I wasn't really sure if I was ever going to see my parents again. And but you know, we did go back to my dad, and I'm going to say it's a very good thing we did. Things did work out better in the long run, and if it wasn't for him, you know, like I've been saying, I just feel like one of the best things about my upbringing has been listening to electronic music and underground music with him, stuff like that, and there's a lot of certain values that come from being in that family. So I'm kind of glad I didn't get taken away or anything like that. So with that being said, I'm going to stop right here and come back and share a little bit more because I can't let these videos get too long. So this will be part one of my story, and I'll be right back.